What is the value of fear? Volume 2. So, I did volume 1 yesterday, what is the value of fear? I mentioned a bunch of things, and I knew I was missing stuff out purposely, and I knew there was just going to be stuff I was forgetting. I went for my walk with the dog later on. I was listening back to it, kind of reviewing the game tape, if you like, as all professionals do. And I thought, oh yeah, there was this little thing. I meant to go off on this little tangent and make this point and say this thing, maybe tell this story, and I kind of got distracted, as I do, because I don't edit any of these things. I don't want to. I haven't got the brain power for that. I haven't got the computational units going on, but I can do my chatting, I can say my thing, I can listen to it back, I can make my notes, which is what I've done here. So doesn't have to be neat, doesn't have to be tidy, doesn't have to be perfect, it's just got to be done. So I kind of ticked off the things. Yeah, I mentioned these, great. Oh yeah, I forgot that. Oh yeah, I forgot this. So I wanted to go through a few more fears, not kind of generalised fears, but then tell you about mine and actually reveal a new one that I just discovered today on the whole success, fearing success. And I say I discovered it, I kind of knew it, but I've never articulated it, and I'm going to try and articulate it. So, firstly, again, general fear. We fear being not enough. I think that's a huge fear for all of us. I'm not clever enough, I'm not rich enough, I'm not tall. Damn, as a dude, I mean, I'm 5'8", right? In this dating world today, I'm not tall enough. I don't have enough money in my bank account, okay? So that I'm, in so many ways, I'm not enough. You know, and in other ways, I'm far too much, but that's for another day. We fear being less than, you know, so we don't want to put ourselves out there in the world through fear of that being recognised, essentially. That we want to be recognised, we want to be recognised for all the things we think we're great at or good for, or, you know, we think are good about us. Yeah, I want people to recognise that, I want people to appreciate those things, but please don't look behind the curtain. Just so happened to be there. And see what's actually really there, like all the monsters and the skeletons inside me, you know. I fear that kind of an idea. And not enough, there's, you know, you could, across the board. And it doesn't matter how much someone's got, you can always fear not being enough. It's a very rational fear, I think, in many, many ways. If you're going out to take down some beast with your boys and you're not fit enough and healthy enough and strong enough, you're probably going to be the one who dies. So not being enough in that sense, comparatively speaking, it's it's a big thing. But then when you are enough, i.e. you can just sit in the middle like me, when I do the fitness stuff with the F3 boys, we do this whole army boot campy stuff, it's bloody brilliant, love it, absolutely love it. And I'm doing the April abs thing with them, and it was one of those boys that said to me, you know, about abstinent April. I was like, yeah, come on, let's give all this stuff a go. Having the support of your boys, or your men, whatever you want to call them, your fellas, your pals, your lads, super, super important for guys. But comparatively, being enough, you don't always have to be the best at all the things. So it's me, I'm the best at the press-ups. I love a bit of a press-up. Might be the best at the sit-ups, we don't know. Running, well, I am way down the back. My lungs, as soon as my heart rate gets above a certain bit, that's me cooked. It doesn't matter how much power I have in the rest of my body, how springy I might be, how strong I might be in some ways. If my lungs do not get enough oxygen into my blood to pump around my body, that's it, I'm out. I'm done, I can't carry on. And if I don't get a chance to breathe and recover that and bring my heart rate back down, I am almost as good as dead, because I physically, that's it, you know, so this burns out. So but I'm enough. I can turn up and I can join in. That's enough. Do I fear that it might be too hard for me one day? Of course, yeah. I you know, when I go climbing, I've just come back from climbing today, and I work hard enough, but I don't push it. But at the same time, it's am I enough to do? Am I strong enough? Am I flexible enough? It's maybe not right now, mate. So maybe your fear of falling from there by putting a heel up really high, that's a sensible fear. It's going to serve you. This fear will serve you. Don't let it stop you and completely deter you forever. But maybe let it deter you today. But what we're going to do is this, that fear, that pain that you could fall and you could snap something, you could break something. What we're going to do is we're going to take that fear of that pain, not only that, but for me, losing momentum. Yeah, not only losing momentum in terms of just the physical stuff that I've been working on, but if I get hit hard and I can't move around and do my general stuff that I have to do week to week to keep my body moving, keep my lungs working, keep everything in check, keep my mind from going absolutely bonkers, if I injure myself and can't do these things, I may well end up back in hospital. And again, that to me, it brings it back to the worst thing, you know? So the idea that I could take that fall, and what I can do instead of pushing it today, I don't know what's going on with this camera, it's going in and out of focus. Behave. Whatever. And then I can say, all right, I'm going to incrementally chip away at that. So the little bits of pain it might put me through to do maybe the pistol squats that I've got to do the hangboarding that I've got to do, to work on all the little bits, all the little skills, to calm my breathing when I'm up there and where it's scary. All of these little things, take that pain and chop it down into bite-sized chunks every day. What are the little things I can work on? Ultimately, it's as much ball ache as falling, potentially, but you're not actually doing anything detrimental to the downside, and multiply to the downside. You know, like I was trying to say yesterday, it's not quite times by 0, but it might be times 0.25, times a half, 0.75, whatever, you know, pick your number, I haven't done the maths yet. But the idea being that then it's a multiply to the upside. You do all those little things and you keep doing those little things. You take what would have been the pain, the aggro of the fall, and then you chip away at all the little skills you need to be able to not fall. That's going to be a transferable skill. The value of transferable skills coming up. So that's one of these things, okay, that I wanted to talk about as well. Now, you know, as I say, for me, the physical pain equals the worst case scenario, which is being ill again, going back to the hospital. Essentially, to me, I was dead. I was dead. So to me, even a little potential thing equals death. And that is not good life maths right there. I'm trying to undo that. I'm trying to break that pattern. And I'm trying to, value of patterns coming I'm trying to install some new hardware. It's bloody hard work, but that's why I have hard work tattooed on my knuckles. So the next thing is driving fear. Okay. Oh no, actually, you know what? I'm going to come back to that. So let's just take this, right? On the flip, okay, so I'm saying I fear success. I fear success because what I think is if I make commitments, if I start building up some momentum, start saying yes to things, booking things in, responsible for things, what if then I have to give more time and effort and energy like I used to when I had the business? What if I then couldn't invest that or use that on myself to stay well and to rest when I need to rest and to do the things I need to do? What if that takes over that and then I get too ill, I can't, and then that equals that, which equals death, which again, in my mind, it's the worst case scenario. So for years, I didn't really leave that. I'd leave the house briefly for a moment and I had to pick my time and my day of the week when I felt, come on, mate, you can leave the house, you can go up there and you can get some bread and milk. You can make it up the hill and back. It took me days sometimes to do that. You know, now I can leave the house. Now it's pretty cool. But then the idea of doing bigger things like shows and presentations and mixing with crowds of people again, doing theatres and things like that, like I used to do and I used to love, and I know I will still love it. But I have the fear of what if that, like the business used to do, it used to drain me. I used to not be able to function. I would sometimes sleep for 22 hours of a day because my body was just so done. I had viruses, infections, all the things that you're dragging me down. And I had to try and human on top of that. It was all too much. And I worry about that again. And no, mate, come on. We've been working on this. We've been trying to take these little baby steps. Again, that's what it is. I'm trying to worry less about the perfection of it. I feared this video less today, but there's still a little smidge of it. And I said to myself, oh, you could do this and you could do that. No, stay upstairs. You brought all the stuff upstairs, Via. Stay in this space. Stay in this headspace. Don't psych yourself out. Psych yourself up. And then get on with it. Enough. So the other thing, and this is the thing that I wanted to articulate that came to me this morning. And that is, and I don't believe I'm a man of excuses. There are no excuses, only reasons. Okay, so for example, oh, I can't run, I've got asthma. It's like, no, you need to run because you've got asthma. It's the opposite, okay? The value of the opposite coming up. You wouldn't believe the opposite is such an amazing thing. So anyway, we use excuses. I can't do this because of this. No, you need to do this because of this. It's just, you got it backwards. But I kind of have had my whole entire life the greatest excuse to kind of get out of anything, and that is I'm too ill. Hospital says no, yeah, doctor says no, computer says no. And I would make myself try, and this is the thing, people go, mate, you could just sit around all day playing video games, getting high, and what an amazing life. And I'm like, that to me, it disgusts me. It revolts me. The idea of that life, shoot me now, you know? And I promised myself I wasn't going to take my life, I wasn't going to try and take my life again. I'm going to try my absolute best and give it all I've got, leave nothing on the table, no matter how scary the future might be and how much pain I think I'm trying to save myself by ending it now. No, you're not going to do that. You're going to keep going as much as you can, okay? So I could have the greatest excuse. People could wait on me hand and foot. I could get nurses bringing me shit to the door. I could get meals. I could get all the stuff. That kind of life, as I say, I really don't want to live it. But it is really nice to be able to have that excuse, that kind of, reason to go, nah. And oh, why? I don't even need to say why, just nah. When everyone knows how ill you've been, and anyone anywhere near me knows, how bad it's been, when you're hanging on by a thread for months and years on end, it's, they go, don't even, and so you kind of go, oh, that's a lovely little, if I'm not really feeling up to it that day, no one's going to go, oh, come on, they're going to go, I respect you. I respect the fact that you push yourself so hard all the time. I have no idea how you have done what you have done. It blows my mind. I'm like, please don't even get me started. I will burst out crying. It's been that hard. So having the days where I don't feel great, I can worm out of it. I can allow myself to get away with it. I can just say to everyone else no, and they will allow me. They won't pressure me. And I'm not sure that's always helpful. Sometimes you need the kick up the arse. Sometimes you need that someone to take the piss out of you a little bit, to reflect. Because sometimes you go, you get really defensive and you go, oh, that touched a nerve. Why did that touch a nerve? I hate the idea of someone thinking of me as lazy. Because I often feel really lazy because I can't get up and do stuff. And I use the word can't now because I used to push and push through when I really shouldn't have. And the hospital would say to me, you should have come in months ago. You're messing yourself up. I've been busy. I've had a life to live. I've got things that I need to do, responsibilities in this world that you can't imagine. Because I could always imagine this big picture, which is what I'm sharing now, even though I always knew that I was going to die young. So I'm like, how? I don't know. Anyway. So I'd always push through and push through. So now I say, no, I'm not going to continue those old habits. I'm not going to do what younger me did. I'm going to be more sensible. I'm going to make myself rest sometimes. I'm going to say no rather than just saying yes to everything. And I'm going to actually say no even before contemplating what it might be and whether or not it might be beneficial, just because I'm trying to break the old habits. So having that as a fallback, going, I don't really fancy it today. Oh, it's all right. Well, I'm ill. And I couldn't quite manage that. Well, yeah, but you're ill. And so you can always lean back on that and it can start to feel really comfortable. And then the idea of getting up and out of that again and putting yourself in uncomfortable situations where previously, I think it took me 2 or 3 weeks to be able to make it into town to get my hair cut. It was driving me nuts, but I physically just couldn't walk that far and back. And I didn't have help, and that's a whole other issue. That's on me a lot of the time as well. But anyway, the idea being that I would, have to psych myself up for hours just to take the dog outside to take a wee. These things, it was so hard for me just to do even the most basics that everyone else, pretty much 99.9%, I love that fraction. So data says 99.9%, 99.9% of the time. Did you know that? So having had such a struggle to even move from one room to the next, even to move from one end of the bed to the next, to break there for 5 minutes, to then make it to the loo, to then break there, to back to, having such resistance, just moving your body, then all these other things, it's, oh mate, that's going to be so painful, it's going to be so hard, it's going to be so exhausting, it's going to be so this. Actually, I know the opposite is going to be true. It's going to give me energy. I'm going to be elated. Sitting downstairs on that chair, dying. Literally, all this inside me, killing me. Because I'm just sat there, I'm not sharing it with the world. And that's what I've got to be doing here. That's what I've got to get over it. Yeah? I've got to get over the idea of crying on camera. Fuck it, it's going to happen. It's going to happen, mate. Just get over it. Just try not to ugly cry. It's the ugly cry. But you know what, boys, right? Boys, here. If you need to cry, right? Don't cry in front of the girls, okay? It does make you less sexy, no matter how sexy you might be. Find some boys, find some men, find some companions, right? Find a brotherhood, okay? It's effort, it's fucking effort, but if you need a damn good cry, those are who you cry with, yeah? You cry with your guys. Anyway, so I had that as a little like kind of fallback excuse, and I'm realizing more and more it's not serving me. You know, this kind of fear is not serving me. So I need to just act differently, think differently, act differently. And again, just trusting in other people, having faith in others. So that was something that actually, yeah, I won't have that excuse anymore. If I'm out and out and I'm doing the things and I'm managing, it's scary to think about, you know, but at the same time, I've got to get over that fear, because I know it's the right thing for me. I feel it. I've always felt it. So I've got to continue. So driving fear, this is the thing. This is it. Okay, I've been driven by fear my whole life, and it can be super beneficial. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't recommend it. It's not lovely. Okay, but there are certain people, and a lot of really, really successful people, they fear being less than. They fear being not enough. You know, you got your Stephen Bartlett's of the world who does Diary of a CEO, and basically when he was a kid, he had less than, he felt less than, and what he does now in his life is he doesn't want anyone to feel like he felt as a child. So everything he does is in service of that. You know, and it's such a powerful thing. So you can take the trauma, if you like, the injury, the hurt, the pain, and you can sit in it and dwell in it and use it as the excuse all day long. And you might be completely, you know, well within your rights and validated to do that in many ways, but does it serve you? That's the thing. Does this fear serve you? And if the answer is no, you've got to tell yourself a different story. So for me, it's like, right, I actually feared all of the inside stuff. I was getting beaten up left, right and centre all day, all night, no escape. Nothing was curable. It is literally only gets worse as you get older. You're only going to get iller as you get on. And every time you go into hospital, where's so-and-so? So-and-so died. Where's so-and-so? They died. Oh, scary. The inside world was really scary. So as scary as the outside world was, it wasn't as scary as what's going on in it. Like, this is inevitable. That's a maybe. You know, this, yeah, all the time. Right now, yesterday, today, tomorrow. That depends how you play it, mate. You know, yeah, you might get laughed at here, or you might get punched there, or you might, I don't know. Okay, life will give you a slap sometimes. It will kick you around. Again, it's just asking the question, how much do you want this? How much do you really care? And if the answer is it matters, yeah, it really, really matters. It's all I think about all day, every day. Then you've got to do something about it, or it's going to eat you away. Okay, so you can use fears. It's like the carrot and stick idea. It's the stick in it, and so many people have the stick and just cower. They cower under the stick and just continue to get beaten. And they say, look, I can't do anything. I'm getting beaten by a big stick. You go, all right. So if you're going to continue to get beaten by that big stick regardless, stand up. You're going to still get beaten by that big stick, and it's going to start hitting your face. You go, oh, this bloody hurts my face, right? I've got a big red mark. Okay, I'll get back. Oh, now I'm getting it. Oh, in the nuts, whatever. But you then can at least start to learn to block and fight back. And then maybe one day you get that stick. Now you got the stick. How are you going to use that stick? Are you going to use it to go around beating others up, or are you going to use it as a peacemaker, saying, look, not only do I know how to defend against this stick, I can get hit by this stick all day long, and it ain't going to bother me. And now I've spent so many years with this stick, I know how to use this stick. So anyone who wants to come along and challenge me, I'll fuck you up. That is another choice. That's another story to tell. So I'm choosing to use that stick and actually try to do some good with it, rather than just take that negativity and pass it on, or just continue to take it and just cower away from it. I'm choosing to use the power of that stick and stand up and see what I can do with it. Yeah, see if I can use that stick, get a couple of other sticks, maybe build a house. I don't know. So the other thing, these aren't staying short and sweet. I'm going to try and keep them under 10 minutes. Totally not happening, is it? So we've got the inside fear worse than the outside fear, the whole carrot and the stick idea. Okay, we fear failure. So many of us fear failure. So we don't even try. Well, we go, oh, I'm going to fail anyway. All right, well, if your idea of failure is not doing it first time, so in climbing we call that a flash. If you don't flash it, you failed. Well, then you're a crap climber. Because if you're flashing everything you do, you're not even trying hard enough either. And I like to get a healthy little balance. I like to flash things. I feel good. Yay. But at the same time, I like to challenge myself, not too much, because I don't want to break things. But I want to work on my technique on the things that I feel confident on. But if you just judge yourself on, if I don't get it right first time every time, I'm a failure, then mate, you've already failed. Your attitude sucks. Okay? If you define failure as just outright giving up, that's it, I'm done, no more throwing the towel. Well then, so long as you keep trying, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, decadely, whatever, I don't know, decadely, is that a word? As long as you don't stop, you will eventually get there, or you'll die trying, which is also, that's great, go for that, yeah? That's cool, as long as you don't give up, ultimately give up. You've never failed. You may have failed attempt number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, I think, what was it? Dude invented the light bulb. I haven't failed, I've just found 10,000 ways how not to do a light bulb, something like that, look it up. I have a good quote, I murdered that one. So, we fear failure. But something I really failed, and this kind of goes back to the, I could sit there getting high playing video games all day, which is some people's idea of a great idea of a life. As I say, to me, it's not. I fear not dying, okay? In many ways, I'd love to be the man in the box. I'm so exhausted so much of the time. I'm like, let me just have the long dirt nap, please. I am so done. But I fear not living. I.e., not living up to my potential, not really seeing what I can do, not giving it a go, not making the approach. I fear going, what would have happened if I had have had the courage to, I just don't want to be that guy. I will look over the hill. I might be scared, but I'll go. I will go deeper into the cave. And I've legit done that in bat caves in Indonesia, I believe. And I think with this guide, it was just me and him going deeper and deeper in. And I was like, mate, it's just all these bats like hitting us. And it was just, the air was thick and you could smell it and feel it and taste it. And we went out and he's like, I've never been that deep into that cave before. I was like, well, I just kept going because you kept going. He's like, I kept going because you kept going. So I just wanted to see how far it went and how far it could go. So again, that idea of not living, it drives me to overcome the fear that would make everyone else scared. It's not that I don't feel the fear. I so feel the fear. I feel so sensitive. So I'm like a raw nerve so much of the time. The difference is the fear of not doing it is greater than. And this is, again, the value of fear. And if you can learn to use the fear and embrace it, as I say, and adopt it as something that drives you, and learn to see it as such so that you embrace it when it's there. You're like, hey man, how you been? I ain't seen you for a while. What new shit are we going to learn today, It's that idea. And then you push yourself and you feel it again. You're like, man, okay, still there. But if you learn to see it as a friend rather than a foe, it changes the whole dynamic, it changes the whole equation. So then, I just talked about that monster side. So yeah, I fear commitment. I think a lot of us fear commitment, okay? Basically just saying, well, what if I make this choice that kind of affects my whole life massively, and it's the wrong choice? What if I make the wrong choice? Well, have you ever always made all the right choices? No. But at the same time, if you realise that you can zig and zag and that choices can be flexible and that hard work does overcome a lot, and a story change or an attitude change or a viewpoint change actually also changes a lot, and that you realise, yes, commitment is forever in many respects, but oftentimes we look at it wrong. It's an ongoing thing. It's a commitment to the self, kind of to do better. If it's something like a relationship, I've struggled with it as well because I don't want to hurt people, which is coming up. So the idea of committing to someone is, well, this is the person I'm going to destroy. That's a lovely way to say I love you. So, but I fear, making any kind of commitments. I fear which exercise, is that the wrong exercise? Is this the right exercise? Not realising that, just mate, exercise is great, okay? Just whatever you do is all good, okay? Don't worry too much about it. Just commit to exercise, and it will change and vary as the years go on. You won't always be able to stick to your 3 times a week this, or your this times a week that. But as long as you're always up and going and you've got the right attitude towards exercise and health and fitness, that's the detail that I'm getting wrong. I'm focusing on the wrong thing. So a lot of people in the dating market today, because everything's just an app thing, it only gives you the choice. There's no level for humour. How humorous do I want them to be? That's not on there. It's just how tall do I want them to be? How much money do I want them to make? What education have they got? How far away or close are they? Those are your options. None of that shit matters. It's not actually, you talk to anyone who knows anything about relationships, none of that actually really matters. How do they smell? Do they have morning breath? Do they like morning sex or evening sex? That's a big one. That's what she said. But I like, you know, the idea that the things that we're focusing on, value of focus coming up, they're not the right things. We've lost our values as a society, I think, a lot of the time, and that's what I feel like I'm trying to do with this. Don't get me wrong. Again, I'm kind of in there, getting sucked in, going, yeah, I believe them. No. You're lucky enough to have had previous experience. And that's not actually how you feel. Like, that is true. That is not exactly how I feel. There's nuance, the value of nuance coming up. So, oh yeah, I've got to remind you all to like and subscribe. I don't want to be that guy. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not going to push things on this channel. But I've got to ask you to like and subscribe, because if you think these are good videos and you feel like you might have had some nugget of benefit from them, then it's very potential that, there's a good potential, good possibility that others might also benefit from them too. So if you do like and subscribe, I believe it helps the algorithm and then more people can see it. So yeah. And then the other thing I think finally is hurting others. Okay, hurting others. I really fear hurting others. When I was a kid in hospital, I would be laying next to a little bag of bones, a little, you know, just barely alive human being, oxygen up the nose or on the mouth, you know, on sort of nebula, all these things. All these things. I know used to say that a lot. And they're barely alive. This, you know, this little skeletal human being next to me, and they're destroying the family. You know, the family's all around them, and they're all crying, they're all upset, they're all arguing out in the hallway. All the financial stuff's a nightmare, and to me, you know, all I saw every time I was in hospital, I saw these people destroying their families, not because they wanted to, couldn't help it, but time plus proximity equals influence. And when you're around someone who's dying and there's nothing you can do about it, it will destroy you. And anyway, I'll go into it another day. And then the idea of being that burden, I didn't want to be that. And then I saw people who were a bit older and they looked horrendous and again, knocking on death's door, barely moving, just like up and down the corridor like little zombies, you know, just their legs like my arms. And I said, that's my future. That's my worst nightmare. I'm surrounded by, I can't be this, anything but this. So I, you know, got to a point where I was like 10, I just pushed everyone away from me, everyone out of my life. Look, out of sight, out of mind. If you can't see me that ill, then it's not going to affect you as badly. Sadly, people did say to me, do you know how hard it is for so-and-so when you're that ill? Do you know how hard it is for so-and-so when... I'm like, look, man, please don't put that on me. That's a lot to put on a kid, because I can't help it. There's nothing I can do. All I can try and do is get better as best I can, try and do all the things I can, and I always did. I always tell the truth to the doctors, like, look, I can't manage that, I'm not going to do that, I'll do this. You know, this is how it works for me. But... you know, not wanting to hurt people is massive. So then it's really hard to have relationships if you can't make any little mistakes like that, because the mistakes were the consequences were massive. You know, people were dropping dead left, right and centre. It really mattered. It's like being on the battlefield. It's not a laugh right now. It is serious. It's time to get serious. Humour plays a massive part in getting through these hard times, but you've got to take these decisions seriously, man. And you've got to really work hard and commit to staying alive. Just stay alive, you know? So fearing hurting others means that you push others away, and therefore it's really hard to have any kind of proper relationships. Value of relationships coming up. So look, guys, that's all I've got for today. Okay, I could wrap it on for hours, but I want to wrap it up before half hour. And I've got all these other things coming up. There may well be a Fear Volume 3, but for now, I just want you to have a bloody lovely day.